That's funny and dumb. I forgot to turn the audio on. Anyway, I'm glad you said something. Daniel, how are you? Mark, you're headed to Showalter Guitars. Mark, W. Mark Landers, headed to Showalter Guitars, which means you'll only be like maybe 5 or 6 miles up that way. Trying to remember all the things I said. Okay, so that whole time I wasn't playing guitar. That's obnoxious. I played guitar for like the last 2 minutes. I played the better stuff than I normally play. Touch. Hey, your guitar sounds good. Thank you. This is probably the main guitar that we'll end up talking about today, as far as guitars that have just gone bonkers, freaking crazy on prices. And it's a guitar that I didn't plan on keeping. Anyway, we'll talk about this a lot. Man, I think I need a 12 fretter. I think you do too. They're awesome. Daniel's here. Todd is here from Colorado. Colorado. Rado. Watching through Facebook as well. Corey, what's up, buddy? How are you? Michael. Is that how you... Michael Johns? I guess that's probably a funny spelling of your name, or a phonetic spelling of your name. Cut my finger. I talked about that as well before the mic was on. I cut my finger the other day. And let's see. AJ Bowser says, hey, Jeremy, I've heard of the mid-90s OOC 16T. Is it a tenor? Is that what the T stands for? A OOC, so it's triple O size. It's a cutaway. It's a 16, which would mean mahogany back and sides, and probably doesn't have a gloss top in that. Probably does, but probably would be too long. Triple OC, so it's a triple O cutaway 16T. Is the T a tenor? I already asked that. I'm familiar with that style of guitar. I sold those for a long time. Hey, from Ireland. First time catching a live stream. Absolutely love your content, Jordan. That is super exciting. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for watching. And let's see, Ireland is like that way, a couple thousand miles. I don't know why. I always think that that's kind of funny. Hey, just bought a fuzz pedal. Michael. Paul Dick. Love that Waterloo. Guys, I play this Waterloo all of the time. I don't put it in as many videos, but it is literally like it stays by my bed. And I play it like every morning when we do morning prayer for our kids. Every night as kids are brushing their teeth. This is the guitar that I'm just wandering around the house like... Sonya's here from northern New Jersey. Hello, how are you? Matt, the King of Scotland. Guess you're not the King of Scotland. You're whatever. We won't talk about that. But Marvin's here from the Philippines. That's amazing. Holy cow. Jeremy's like Vivi from Dance Moms. I cut my finger on my mom's ring. I hope I can still dance. Yeah, you know, cutting your fingers when your gig is playing guitar, or at least talking about guitars. I was the Mesa Boogie Roadster back here. The power cable is right angle, which is kind of crazy. So to get your finger in there, you have to kind of really get your hand all the way in the cabinet. And when I did, there's like bolts with screws and nuts on the inside. And so as I did, I literally just like whoosh, took the skin off the like front of my finger. It doesn't hurt that bad, but it bled a lot. So I had to run inside. No, I think it's for the technology. It's a more modified model. I don't know. Dude, that's interesting. Send me pictures. I'd love to hear about that. From Louisiana, Mr. Guidry, with a name like Guidry, you are from Louisiana. That's awesome. Dude, I love Louisiana. We were there 2 weeks ago. Spent a week. I love, especially South Louisiana is my heart. I love that place. It's great. So anyway, that's a sweet guitar. It is. So thank you. The mother... Oh, can't say that one. That's it. If you could only play one acoustic for the year and it couldn't be more than $1,500, what are you buying? That's a great question. Ooh, I'm into the hard drugs of guitars these days. I'm into expensive, cool stuff. So if I could only play one guitar for an entire year and it couldn't be more, I know what it would be. It'd be one of the guitars that's on this list that even though that guitar shot up in value, they're still below $1,500. Well, if you're lucky, you find one under $1,500. It'd be a Larrivee DO3. That's just an amazing guitar. I just really like them. And they're made in the U.S. They're all solid. And they're really, really good. I mean, some are made in Canada. But, yeah, the Larrivee DO3. That'd be a guitar I would do for sure. William Wisham. Have I played a Teton guitar? I have not. That's a guitar. It is. What? Hold on. There's another Philippines. That's amazing. Galandrius. What a name. Galandrius Cornell? David says, I feel your pain. Broke off oven light, but the bass is still in. Just the bulb broke off. I called it quits after my second finger trying to get after I cut my second finger trying to get the bass out. Yeah. That's where you unplug the whole thing, shove a potato in there, twist it out. It'll come back out. What about a Taylor AD27? That's a great guitar. Yeah, my friend Terry has one of those. I had an AD17. That's another great guitar, but that one's just over the 1,500 line. But that would be another great option. I would also do a Guild M20. You can get those under 1,500. Yeah, glad you still have the Waterloo. Me too. Who would have known that I got this thing at the right time, at the right price? Because now they are just bonkers. This guitar is amazing. It's so light. It's does that stress you out? It's my guitar. I get to do what I want. But yeah, it's probably, I would bet this thing's like 4 pounds. Every now and then I hear the accent. Like I said, I've said this before, there is a hillbilly hiding just behind my college education. I'm the first one in my family to go to college. Well, my dad went to college, but in my mom's side, I'm the first one in the whole West Virginia side of my family. First one to go to school. All right, yeah, Daniel has a AD27 as well. Hey, tuning in from upstate New York. Awesome. Well, the topic of today's live show, which is super fun, and I literally came up with it yesterday, because I'm working on getting on a schedule. I think we're going to start rotating, and I'll start numbering, rate my guitars, take your phone calls, shop your Craigslist, and then we'll do a topical, like a top 10 guitars that aren't worth the money, or whatever those lists are. We'll start doing those. So this one is kind of in that list kind of category. So I figure we'll just run through some guitars that I've just noticed over the last couple of years of buying and selling guitars, that all of a sudden there are some that have just gone crazy. Now there are still some deals out there, but that's kind of the opposite, the contrapositive of what we're doing today. So the focus of this one is just to talk about guitars that are crazy and expensive, that have gotten expensive, and we may have missed our chance to buy them. And if you get a chance, they're seemingly still on the rise. So, number one, you should know, this live show is brought to you by my course, Write Guitars Faster. It is the single best thing I've ever been able to make to help people find the right guitar. So because I take calls throughout the week. I do video calls. You can also book those through the website, and they are so fun. I love them every single time. It is a video call with me. It looks a lot like actually I'm standing at my desk there in your face. Anyway, but it's a phone call, a video call where you and I get to hang out and talk and ask questions. And I always kind of get the same couple questions. I get, should I buy this guitar? How should I sell the guitar that I have now? Or the big ones I get are, hey, I like this guitar and I want a different guitar, but are they too similar? How do I start building a guitar collection? So as I did all of these calls, I've done those calls for over a year now, and they were really cool. I kept finding these three kind of themes. People don't know how to buy the right guitars. They don't know what's right for them. You don't know what to do. You feel overwhelmed when you walk into a guitar shop. Second one, you don't know how to sell guitars. Once you have a guitar, you don't know how to take pictures of it, or where to sell it, or how to ship it. And so that whole topic of selling guitars and keeping the most momentum you can so that you can build a collection that you love. Like, you look at your guitar collection and it feels like you, and it feels like everything that you'd want to do in a musical situation, that you would have just a really meaningful experience of writing music, playing other people's music, creating music for your family, playing at church, playing in a band, whatever you want to do to get the right collection of guitars. So that's where Right Guitar is Faster comes in. If I put my hand behind it, oh look, you can see it. A complete video course on how to buy the right guitars, sell the wrong guitars, and build a meaningful guitar collection. GuitarHunter.teachable.com. So that is, yeah, that's the sponsor. I'm sponsoring my own video, and I really want you guys to download this course. A bunch of you have already done it, but it is the thing that will help you, especially if you jump in and you feel overwhelmed just by, as we move into the clip today of like, we're going to cover 15 guitars that are just crazy and expensive, and they're going to be totally all over the map. Like, there's some pedals. There aren't any pedals. There's some amps in here. There's some guitars in here. There's electric guitars. There's acoustic guitars. There's all kinds of stuff. So check it out. It's totally exciting and worthwhile. And it's my favorite thing I've been able to do. And when you buy that, it directly supports the work of this channel that I keep getting to make these videos. I get to go buy more guitars and kind of bring you along as I find these crazy guitars way out in the mountains in Virginia, West Virginia, Ohio, North Carolina, South Carolina, all over the world. I want to start finding more guitars. Anyway, so there we go. With all of that said, let's see. I'm looking at the comments. Hey, Steve is here. Never did a live chat. Talk about 12 frets or 14 on that guitar. 12 frets on this guitar. And usually it's a pretty safe bet when you see a slot headstock. It's a pretty safe bet that a slot headstock also means a 14 fret, sorry, a 12 fret body. Maybe just me, but audio is popping here and there. Yeah, that is literally StreamYard. It's the software that I run for this. There's nothing I can do. It is entirely on them. I can do one thing. Let me see if I can do one thing. Uh-oh. Nope, don't want to do that. I want to do this. Want to do... Okay, there we go. I think, because I was shooting at such a high frame rate, I don't know. That's one setting I realized. IPB? Okay. Anyway, I'll do my best with the crackly audio. So, hello from Alabama, from Jerry Black. Hey from Alabama. Daniel's done the course, and he loved it. And it's really fun, especially if you're, I mean, I've had 2 people book calls with me for like $50 for an hour. It's a 1-hour conversation, and both of them had the same questions. Hey, I like this guitar and I like this guitar. How do I collect guitars? How do I get to where these guitars work together as a system, you know, as a collection that helps me play in church, play in a bar, play the cover songs I like, play at home, you know, and also keeps me playing and interested and moving into new directions in guitar playing. I've spent a lot of time thinking about this, and so anyway, check out the course. Thanks everybody for who has checked it out. Waterloo mandolin. That's crazy. I haven't seen one of those. Waterloo makes mandolins as well? Do they? I haven't seen one. If they do, how am I missing out? That's crazy. Okay, so there are a whole bunch of guitars that have gone crazy. I don't know if you know this, but the world has gotten a little crazy in the last couple of years. And just, dude, things have freaked out. So let's look at some things that have just gone crazy. First, Shameless? Is this Shameless? Is it? Okay, how do I have to lean way over here. And okay, so first, I have a couple things for sale that you should know about. First, can I get my hand over here? And right there, I have a 1968 Fender Deluxe Reverb with the drip edge, super cool, $2,600. I also have a 59 LG1 that we'll talk about and will be for sale here soon, which is, I'm asking $28.99. I have a Mesa Boogie dual rectifier. It's a Roadster head. It's awesome. And Furch Red Deluxe, $4,500. PV Classic 20, Mini Head, $400. I have a 1970 Martin N20 for $5,500. I have a Schoenberg. We haven't even talked about this. I haven't made a video or talked about it, but I have a Schoenberg that is $15,000, $500. And it is the best acoustic guitar I have ever had in this studio. Can't wait to show it to you. I also have a Taylor T5 12-string for $1,900. Email me at info@jeremyshepherd.com. info@jeremyshepherd.com. Anyway, bada bing, bada boom. Number one. I didn't think about this. I did transparent titles. And let's see. So, the number one guitar that, and these are in some particular order, but the number one guitar that has just gone completely crazy in the last couple of years are these Tom DeLonge ES333s. They have gone so crazy. And they're really cool guitars. So, there's two versions of these. There's the Epiphone version and the Gibson version. The Epiphone version, I think new. I don't know. I think new they were like $899. And now they're way above that. They're above $2,000 for the Epiphone 333s. They're semi-hollow. They're basically a dot or a 335. They're a center block. They're satin finishes. They have the stripe. They only have one pickup. They have the dirty fingers, which is, I mean, Tom is known for those crazy kind of pickups. Daniel and I, when we were at the Philly Guitar Show, saw two of these, one Epiphone, one Gibson, by Chuck with... What is Chuck's shop name? I talked to him earlier this week. Chuck. Yes, and Chuck told me that he sold both of these. He sold one for $2,000, the Epiphone for $2,000, and the Gibson he sold for $9,000 for a 333 satin finish with one pickup, one volume, not even a tone. And yeah, he got $9,000 for it. And I think a big part of this is people that were deeply nostalgic, kind of the older crew that loved, the older crew that loved Blink-182 and then loved Angels and Airwaves in their late 20s or 30s 25 years ago. That crew that loved that band, they now have more disposable income and they have more time because of the pandemic. They have more nostalgia than they've had before. And I mean, just Tom DeLonge is still kind of top of the world and still cool and known. So anyway, these have gone bonkers. And I can't believe it. They're just crazy. So another guitar that's gone really crazy is the Larrivee DO3. And Larrivees in general, they have always been, to me, incredible value for such a low amount of money. Now, the hard part is that they have depreciated pretty hard. Like when you would buy them from what you pay to what they sell for used. But if you can find these used, when I was in New Orleans, southern Louisiana, I found 5 of these within a year or so. So whoever sold these in the early 2000s did a great job, but they just happened to sell them to people that didn't stick with guitar, because I ended up finding these guitars and I would get them between $400 to $600, and I would sell them for $800, $900. I never broke into the $1,000 range, but forever, these were just such incredible deals. There's so much guitar for the money. So these are solid Sitka spruce tops. They're solid mahogany back and sides. They're a bolt-on neck, but they're ebony bridge, ebony fingerboard. They sound great. My friend Aaron owns one here in town. Aaron, if you're watching this, there are 2 things you own that I want to own. A Larrivee DO3 that I sold you in like 2017. Then I also want to buy that flat iron mandolin that you got. If you watched it years ago, he beat me to the punch on one of these. The Furk Deluxe. I'm catching up with some comments here. All right, so I'll come back to these. So, yeah, the Larrivee. So let me know if you have comments along the way. Also, super chats are a good way to get my attention because comments just go so quickly. So throw a couple bucks. You'll get priority. I'll see your questions. I'll respond to them. And also, that money goes straight back into the business. It goes back to, we usually keep that money to update all the software and the computers and the crap and the stuff it takes to make these videos. So anyway, use super chats if you would. The Larrivee DO3 are monsters. Now, if you look on Reverb, these are all $1,200 to $1,500 bucks. $1,000. There's technically one for $999. But there's probably something wrong with it. I didn't look at the listing too closely. But all of the other ones and the price guide, all of them are selling between $1,200 and $1,500. Which, for what it is, they're awesome. And they have stepped up. That's what's so crazy. These have stepped up to the place that a D18 used to be. D18s for a long time, and we'll talk about those in a second. You used to be able to find D18s for $1,400, $1,500 bucks. Gone are the days of the Martins in that price. So with that, so now we'll talk about D18s. D18s have gone absolutely bonkers. It's really crazy. D18s used to be my bread and butter as a guitar buyer and seller. I would buy D18s for $1,400 bucks. The best D18 I've bought in a long time was for $1,100. This is in 2016 or 17. I bought, it was a D18 that had a custom shop body, and it had a 1971 D18 neck. The story was that the guitar had been destroyed in a car wreck. It was in the back of a pickup truck and it got hit, and so the body of the guitar was destroyed, but the neck was okay. And so he sent it back to Martin, and under warranty, they ended up fixing and replacing the body and putting the neck onto a new guitar. And so it was a totally funky thing. It was like a cool vintage neck on a sparkly new body. So I eventually sold it because it was just a little too strange as far as like heavy relic on the neck and like lots of wear on the fretboard, and then a totally new guitar. So, I mean, if they did it, they probably should have aged it up a bit to just make it look a little more right. But anyway, gone are the days of getting $1,400 D18s. They are all, the cheapest D18s you can find are $2,000 now. What do you guys think? What's that Telly behind you? That's not Paisley? Let's see. Paisley's on one side. This one. We'll take a break here in 1 second. I'll talk about it. I've been holding my tea this whole time and haven't taken a sip. Let me come over here and turn this off. So, Daniel, this Telly, this is a Allen Rich. Sorry, a Rich Allen. It's a Rich Allen no-caster. So this is, let's see if I can get it to focus. It's trying to find my eye. Yeah, it's not going to focus. It's hooked on facial recognition. But this is a Rich Allen. This is his no-caster. And so this is basically like a 1950, 1951, big knurled knobs. I forget the pickups that are in it, but this is a custom guitar. The body's made by Mario Lopez, but basically this is a parts caster that Rich has been putting together, and so we're going to have a larger conversation about parts casters later on. But this is, I mean, it's not hyperbole, it's not exaggeration. This is probably one of the best Telecasters I've ever played, and it's just, I mean, it's amazing to play. And anyway, I've kind of put off, this is funny, I've kind of put off making a video on it because I just like having it around, and I know as soon as I'm done with the video, I either have to buy it or send it back. But I did a video on this one the other day on my Instagram. So if you don't, follow me on Instagram, and you'll see some stuff. You usually see stuff that before, because it's a lower barrier to entry for that content. Like if I'm at a cool place, I just take a video of a cool place and I put out a reel, and then they just kind of take off. So anyway, yeah. So Daniel, that's what that is. Oh, so many comments. Hey, yes, Philip, that's you. I was thinking about you as I was talking about Larave's, because you have that D05. Not the same guitar, but my D05 is the only acoustic for me for 15 years. Dude, they're so good, and they're such sleepers. And I think even though they've doubled or almost tripled in value recently, they're still not at the value that they actually are. So they're still a deal. And, you know, anytime I talk about these anyway, whatever. When you talk about stuff goes up in value in my experience, and, you know, as I do this more and more. But anyway, yeah, I'm glad that you're in here, man. If you guys don't, make sure you subscribe to 40 Watt Podcast. It is so fun, so cool. It's kind of like those, like comedy podcasts. If you like You Made It Weird, if you like the Nerdist, because it's the ID10T podcast now, but Philip does such a good job in just having real conversations with like musicians and builders and artists, and it's just really cool. So go check out the 40 Watt Podcast. I've been on his podcast twice, and it's super fun. We should do it again sometime if you ever need. It's so fun. What's your opinion on the Larrivee 040R? The 040R is awesome. It's a little small for me. That's a really small parlor guitar, if I'm thinking right. Yeah, it might be the orchestra model, so maybe I'm wrong on with the O. Let me see. I'll just do a quick little Google search. 040R. Yes, yeah, the 040R is their little parlor. So it's good, but it's a tiny little guitar. So they sound a little, they sound like a little guitar. So not totally my thing. Let's see. Noah Rivals Guitar got a D18 a few weeks ago with a tiny bit of rear block damage. Drop. Glued some cleats, filled the crack. Barely played D18 from 2019. Is now mine. Amazing guitar. Only paid $1,600. That's awesome. That's a good deal. Cool guitar. They're great. The D18s have not been better ever since 2012 when they did the reimagined. They're so good. I think that's a guitar. The D18 is a guitar that I think pretty much everybody should have. Yeah. Wonder when Mitchell's from Guitar Center will skyrocket value. Never. Well, maybe not never, but some things. Hey, Philip. Yeah, make sure you guys go subscribe. Sonia likes Philip's pedal reviews. Check them out. Yeah, dude, Philip is you're a great player. I'm not like a noodly lead player, so sometimes that's why I kind of avoid doing demos, but you do it really, really well. And so anyway, let's keep going. Yes, so Darcel, if you're looking for a good parlor guitar, Larrivee, that's kind of their niche. Undervalued, like people don't know about them very much, and they're kind of sleepers, and they're really good quality. They're made in the US, they're solid woods. They're kind of hard to beat. Evan's here. From a Drop, got it. Okay, From a Drop, it's an amazing guitar. The D18 is auditory butter. I like that. That's a good sentence. So yeah, the D18s, big sleepers. The next one up is another Tom DeLonge. So there are two more Tom DeLonges. These are the ones that are more already kind of known. So I actually have one right here. My first electric guitar. Wow, this is heavy. I'm just realizing how heavy this guitar is. But this is my Tom DeLonge. This is a Squire. I refinished the neck and I put a Fender decal on it. This guitar I've changed every part. The only part, I figured this out, the only part I haven't changed are these string ferrules because they're in the body and there's no point in changing them. And I still have the neck plate that says Tom DeLonge. Other than that, every single piece, strap buttons, bridge, pickup, the pickup screws are original and the pick guard, but the output jack plate has been swapped. The knob has been changed. I've customized this guitar to the total as far as I can take it. And so if this guitar was a different color, if it was like a graffiti yellow or the sonic blue like this, or no, this is Daphne. If it was a brighter color, white perloid pickguard, the least this guitar would be worth would be like $1,000. But realistically, with the Invader, which I actually have an Invader, I put an Invader in here for a while and it has no chill, so I took the Invader back out. Anybody want an Invader? I can sell you. It's actually a Gibson spaced, not Fender spaced. Doesn't matter, but again, nostalgia. So people that were kind of, if they were late to the game, if they were older when Blink-182 blew up, were at the very first wave of like the deep nostalgia of pop punk. And so all of those guitars are just shooting up in value, shooting up in value. Daniel and I saw a bunch of these at the Philly Guitar Show not too long ago, and all of those were, and you look on Reverb now, Squires are going for $1,000, especially the funky colors. If you can get the graffiti yellow, that's the one everybody wants. And so $1,000, and then the Fender ones are $2,000, which is crazy to me. It's a Mexican-made Strat, and I get it's a weird color, and it's also a single route, and they're hardtails, so they are different. They're different bodies than others, but anyway. So. Yeah, Daphne Blue is the best. It's such a cool color. These, they just make you feel good. They just make you feel happy. I love Blink-182. I love that style of music. And that's where every now and then when late at night I come out here, I play this Mesa Boogie over here with the Tom DeLonge, and I just live my pop punk best life. So, yeah. So what do you, we'll keep moving. So, another guitar, and let's just go ahead and talk about it. The guitar that's probably shot up in value the most, and I happen to own, is the Waterloo WLS. Waterloos in general have gone absolutely crazy, and I think there's a couple reasons for it. To me, Phoebe Bridgers, Nathaniel Rateliff, those are the big two to me. Who else is playing Waterloo? Molly Tuttle has one. But it's just some of the biggest musicians, not like completely A-list, but some of the biggest musicians in the world have been playing Waterloos the last little bit. The other thing is, and I've talked to the artist rep with Waterloo, is that during COVID, I mean, the bread and butter of Collings Waterloo is Collings. And so they moved everybody that was building Waterloo over to Collings to make sure that those kept building guitars and to keep the lights on. And Waterloo was just kind of a passion project for them. And so because of that, it has just been constantly, the production has been so low, and then you increase the kind of music that's blown up. Yeah, Phoebe Bridgers probably the biggest one. Nathaniel Rateliff is probably bigger than that. Even though Nathaniel now has an artist model from Gibson, there's still so many people seeing the video. Am I crazy? Have I lost my... Oh, I hung it up. I was like, what did I do with this guitar? But this is an incredible guitar, and let's talk about it in all of its glory. I bought this guitar for $1,600 in 2020. Yeah, it was during COVID. I bought this, paid $1,600. It popped up on my local Craigslist. This is not the kind of guitar that shows up around here. And so one of the ways, if you're trying to buy cool guitars, if you're trying to like make some movement to where you can buy a guitar and flip it and make some money and then snowball that money into a guitar that you really want, one of the ways to do it is to look at the guitars, to know your local market really well. Know what is overvalued just because the most people around you like that kind of thing. So for me, unfortunately, lots of people love Martin guitars around here. And because of that, they're all pretty much on the market. But jazz, blues, soul, R&B, anything that is not bluegrass or metal, for me in the Shenandoah Valley, is really undervalued. So this guitar showed up and I knew that I could get a deal on it, but I didn't think it was my thing. And so I ended up buying this guitar pretty much, yeah, sight unseen. Jumped in a car. Yeah, I had a couple of my kids with me. Went over, met in a Home Depot parking lot, and got this guitar. The first thing I noticed when I played it was how shallow the headstock angle is. And I was like, that's kind of weird. And then I strummed it, and it just does a thing. It does a thing. Sorry, I sound like Rhett. But it does not suck. But it does a thing that I just love. And so this guitar is ladder braced. I always thought that I didn't like ladder braced guitars. Thought I didn't like smaller body guitars. I mean, there were many things about this guitar that I've always loved. I've always loved slotted headstocks. I loved really steep V necks. I love 12 fret bodies. I like round shoulders. I like pyramid bridges. So there are a whole lot of things on this guitar that I've always loved, but I cannot help. Oh, I also love cherry back and sides, which this guitar has. So to me, this guitar is basically my perfect guitar. And I think if the house is on fire, I'm really torn. I'd probably save this guitar or the Paget Model 1. I'd probably take the Paget because I cannot find another one. Ben he's going to work for Gallagher Guitars. And so the Paget Model 1 is probably going to be, there's only going to be a couple of them, at least for the indefinite future of the brand of Paget. But there will be great Gallagher guitars that have his kind of DNA put into them. Anyway, so the Waterloo is amazing. This guitar is so light, sounds great. So the crazy part is that other people have caught on to how great this guitar is, and now they're going for like $3,800, $4,000 for a guitar that sold new just a few years ago. I don't remember what year this is. Mine is serial number 1196. Which means they've still made plenty of them. I don't know where they are now, but anyway, this guitar for $3,800, $4,000. I mean, imagine buying a guitar for $2,500 and then you can double your money. You can not double your money, but you could get $1,500 more for it a couple years later. So the things I've done to this one, in addition, is I have put a K&K pickup in it, and so this has a K&K Pure Mini, which is just an easy guitar. Because this guitar is so light, it's like 4 pounds, I just didn't want to add any weight to it. So, yeah, this is my ride or die. Also, this pickguard, this is the only one that has this pickguard as far as I know. And what's interesting is when I talked to the artist rep, he remembers the guy that owned this guitar, and he called in and said, hey, can you put a pickguard on it? And they had to tweak. So this is the pickguard from the Deluxe, but the radius on the sound hole is different. And so there's something that they had to modify. I think they modified the pickguard itself, or they just did, that's why they did this a little bit of offset from the front of the guitar. But I love this guitar. Now I do feel a bit itchy on, like, the worst thing for me is knowing that I have money, knowing that I have good profit margin in guitars that I own, because then I like money a lot. Money solves many of the problems that, you know, a young family has. So that's where I'm like, oh boy, I could sell this and make $1,500. Like, I could make $2,000. If I sold this for $3,600, I would be making $2,000 on this guitar, and that is crazy. So I feel a bit itchy, but I still feel convicted. I love this guitar. So with that said, I'm still gonna have to sell a bunch of other things just because, that's the name of the game for where we are. But yeah. What? Guitar Finds just sold a Daphne Blue Fender Tom DeLonge Strat for $3,000. That is jarring. Yeah. So Patrick, we talked about that one earlier. That was the first one in the list that we talked about. But yeah, so Waterloo, what would you do if you were me? It's a guitar you love, but it's also a guitar you make $2,000 on. What would you do? Drink some tea. I'm playing a dangerous game over here. I have 2 coffee cups. I have my gross cold coffee from yesterday, and then I have my tea from today, and they're both in white mugs, just out of frame to the right. So don't want to barf in on camera. Keep it. Sell. I'd give it to Dan. Dan. That's funny. Zach says you would sell it for sure. Just dropping by, watch the 72 D28 go back to its original afternoon. Oh, I was a mere puddle. Yeah, so that was the 67. That was the Brazilian one going back. That one is so good. And yeah, I've been meaning to... So, yeah, that's a video that a bunch of people have seen. And so I would love to get back together and see those guys. I haven't seen them in over a year. Wow, time goes fast. But yeah, so Victoria says, sell and buy something from my bucket list. Oh, yeah, if I were you, or if you were me, however that works. Yeah, like my bucket list guitars, I'm closing in on a couple of them. Number one, on a 50s, on a mid-50s country western, that's a guitar that I would love to own. So that's a dream guitar, and it's kind of similar in vibe and style to this. But yeah. Yeah, when the recession hits, you can buy another one for less. That's true. It is true that when recessions hit, the things we love tend to go on sale. So if you can pile up cash and not be like predatory or doomsday, whatever. But the reality is it's the same thing with real estate. Lots of people buy real estate when the market turns down. So anyway, keep it. You'll always regret selling it. It is true. Like right now, they are so hard to find. I won't find another one. And I've been very fortunate to do well in other things that we've done. What would I buy if I sold the Waterloo? That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm at a place where I'm really happy with the guitars that I have, which is really exciting. I think realistically, if I sold this, I would probably use that money to like double down and do cool stuff that would grow my YouTube channel. That probably would be the bigger direction I would head. But yeah, bucket list 1980 ES 175. Dude, wonder, does Ted Nugent have one? He's a 275 guy, right? Or is he 175? He's a 175. Sell if you're desperate. If not, it's a keeper. Yeah, praise the Lord, I'm not in a desperate situation. But Waterloo, WLS, super cool guitar, so light, so cool. I love cherry. I mean, if I would order a custom guitar, it'd be pretty similar in spec to this one. There's nothing I really dislike about this guitar. There's everything I like about it. So anyway, it has totally like hijacked my style and my guitar playing. Somebody asked about new Gallaghers. Let's talk about them. So, yeah, let me find this. I'll find this comment. Who asked? Somebody asked about Gallagher's. Might be back here a bit. Gallagher. Jerry Black says, comments regarding the new Gallaghers. New Gallaghers are better than they've been since the 60s or 70s. David Mathis owns Gallagher now. They make incredible guitars. This is a brand new G70. It's a really great guitar. This one is Sitka spruce top, ebony bridge, ebony fingerboard, and then East Indian rosewood back and sides. This is... What is that? Isn't that pink? But anyway, new Gallaghers are, dude, they're so good. Yeah, so JP was having a rough time with his Gallagher on the road. Well, he's there today. So hopefully they can fix it. Yeah, he's, I mean, every guitar, as expensive as they can get to as affordable as they can get, every guitar is going to freak out. And that guitar's new. I mean, this is its first summer. He also brought it from Nova Scotia to the deep south. He went out to Arizona. I get it. I haven't texted JP in a couple days. I think he's going to come by here maybe next week. But anyway. So yeah. New Gallagher's awesome. Big fan. They're really well built. You know, the other amazing thing that they have going for them is that they have Ben Padgett is taking on a role with them as the head luthier. So they are, I mean, they've hired one of the world's best guitar builders. And, you know, that's not hyperbole. He is a friend, but I'm probably his biggest fan because I bought Model 2 of his guitars. And so big fan. Love Gallagher. There's also a link in the description down below. If you want to get a quote on a Gallagher, if you want to dream up a guitar together, I'll be involved in that process. I'll help you figure out the right guitar for you. We'll figure out how to get it, when you'll get it. It's going to be awesome. So there's a link in the description below. It's jeremytheguitarhunter.com/Gallagher-guitars. And so from there, you'll be able to fill out a form. You can also see all the videos that I've put out. I just did a video, not on this one, on a G70 custom. And then I'm filming a video on this in the next couple days. And then this guitar is headed to none other than Dan Tominski. So this guitar is going to go so that he can check it out and see if this is what he wants to take with him on tour coming up. So anyway, great guitars. They're $5,200, $4,800. I think $4,800 is around ballpark on these when they start out. And then each one is custom. So there's lots of options you can do. Really cool guitar. Also follow Gallagher on Instagram. Blah, blah, blah. Let me see. Hide that comment. I love JP. Saw a show in Toronto a couple weeks ago. Looking forward to your show together. Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be fun. He called me, we talked last week, and so we're going to do some stuff. I think we're going to do a live show on his channel on Tuesday, film a video for my stuff, and then the next day we'll do a live show, on my channel. So I got to figure that out. I'm going to see, yeah, I think we've got a little bit. I think it's 2 weeks before we do that. So anyway, let's keep going. What are other guitars that are just shocking, jarring to the senses? So after the Waterloo, another one is small-bodied Gibsons. Man, like especially LGOs, LG1s, B25s, they've all gone crazy. LGOs used to be $500. B25s used to be $400 to $600. And that's what's hard is you form your opinions I think some of our guitar opinions come just on the value of what those guitars sold for. And so for me, I think back to B25s, I'm like, oh, they just sound terrible, which I don't think I'm wrong. I just don't think they sound very good. And then B25s are now $1,000, $1,500. LG ones are $2,500, which I have one hanging back. Oh, so dramatic looking. Look at that one, so dramatic. But yeah, that's a 59 LG one that, I mean, sounds great. Sounds like dobro. I feel like it took me too long to kind of understand, oh, I don't like ladder brace guitars. And then you realize that they just have to be used in a different way. An X-brace guitar sounds a certain way. And so yeah, so the LG one over here just sounds really, really like bluesy. And yeah, so small body Gibsons have gone crazy. Aaron Short's here. Still loving the Authentic. I'm glad you told about that one. Dude, I'm so glad that you got it. So I did a video on Aaron's channel. It was really fun. And yeah, you go to Aaron's channel, subscribe to him, and then you can find that video. It was super fun. We hung out a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about what are the best Martins being made, and we talked about the Martin Authentic. I had just been at Casino Guitars, and they had just received, I think the day before I got there, Casino had just received a D28 1937 Authentic VTS, aged, so many words to describe that guitar, and I played it, and it really is just amazing. So Aaron, I'm so glad you got that. It's a really cool guitar, and yeah, I like those a whole lot. Hey, I got a 69 Gibson J50 mint condition last night. That's awesome. Is it probably square shoulder, orange label? So that's a Norlin era. That'd be hopefully that's before the double X bracing, but that's an exciting guitar to own. Really cool. I have one over here. I have a J50 Deluxe from the 70s over there. People convince themselves that an LGO or a B25 sound good because of the name on the headstock. It's probably fair. Yeah, I mean, Gibson means a thing to you if someone sees you playing a Gibson, which is why one of the most powerful things about Gibson is their name and their brand and what people associate with it. So you're not wrong. LGOs, I mean, if you can swap the plastic bridge, that's the biggest thing going against an LGO or a B25. But they're cool. Like Nathaniel Rateliff plays a B25 12 that is cool and jangly and is maybe he's playing something. I mean, I think it's a B25 12 that he plays. It has like the big wide bridge and the trapeze tailpiece. But yeah, so small bodies I mean, if you're aware of the guitar world in the last couple of years, they've just gone crazy. So here's another one that I may have had something to do with. Husson Daltons. The TDM in particular, the Road series for them. Road series means a whole different thing for them. But even the Road series are now above $2,000 now. And I think that I am the last person ever in the world to get a Husson Dalton TDM for $2,000. So this is my Husson Dalton TDM. This is a 2009. Mine's a Sitka spruce top, ebony bridge, ebony fingerboard, through saddle in the traditional way, because this is their kind of answer to a D18. And then has mahogany on the back and sides. Now this one there's lots and lots of play wear on this guitar, which is kind of why I love it so much, that it's just ready to go. Let me get a pick. Anyway, my Husson Dalton TDM. I got this in the middle of COVID. Guy was asking $2,200, but it was about 4 hours away. we worked back and forth, and I said, hey, can you meet in Richmond, which is halfway, 2 hours for me, 2 hours for him. He couldn't do that, but then later he's like, hey, how about I come to Charlottesville, which is, so basically he would come 3 hours, I would drive 1 hour, and he's like, we have family there, I can come and check him out, I'll bring the guitar. So he brought the guitar over, I paid $2,000 for this, and ever since then, if you look on the Reverb price guide, look on eBay completed listings, look on the gear page, look anywhere that Huss and Daltons are being sold or boutique acoustic guitars are being sold, no one is getting the one for $2,000. And so I feel incredibly fortunate to own one of these. Now, I also feel deeply connected to Huss and Dalton because they're friends of mine. They're 30 minutes from where I grew up. They just build great guitars. Yeah, they are friends of mine. And that's what I love in the guitar world, is when you get to own a guitar that's built by friends. Now, Gibson, okay, sorry, so Huss and Dalton builds guitars in Stanton, Virginia. They build incredible guitars. Now, if you look at their guitars, most of them have these undertones of Gibson. And so if you look at most guitars that are being built, you kind of see they either pull their DNA, their etymology from a Martin-style guitar or a Gibson-style guitar, and Huss and Dalton definitely pulls more Gibson. And what's interesting is they also build a couple guitars. Their TDM and their TDR are very, very similar to Martin-style guitars. I mean, basically, it's an 18-style guitar or a 28-style guitar. So with this and their 18, one of the things that they do, and it drives me crazy, it makes me want to, I would take a hot poker in the eye before I would have to adjust the truss rod on this guitar. It is so annoying. So the truss rod in this guitar is in here behind this brace, but it's so high in the back of the guitar that I have to take the strings all the way off, and I have to use a short truss rod wrench, and I have to get my hand all the way in there. It is so tedious and so annoying. I've been trying to do it for months because this guitar got buzzy, and the neck was just too tight. And so I tried a couple months ago. I got so frustrated, I just gave up, and I was like, okay, guitar's just going to be buzzy. I won't play it hard for a while. And then, so it's just been this kind of painful, annoying thing for a long time. And so I just figured it out the other day. But on most Huss and Daltons, they want the truss rod up top because that's a very Gibson-style way of putting the truss rod. Also, it's just a better design in some ways. I mean, you're trading off. The guitars are more susceptible to neck breaks if they have the truss rod adjustment at the top up here. And so it's just better to have it down low. But like I said, I'd rather take a hot poker to the eye than do this. Also, literally just before the show, I finally ordered this, which this is the Collings a truss rod wrench to adjust the Waterloo, because the Waterloo has the same problem. But I mean, I only tried for 2 minutes, but I couldn't get it. I couldn't quite get this. I couldn't adjust it quickly. That one also is buzzy, and it's just so annoying. So annoying. Especially when they do the truss rod adjustments. Like Ferk has done this so well. There's a tiny little hole through the brace there, and there's an Allen wrench, and it literally is just right there. It is so easy to adjust a Ferk with the truss rod wrench just inside the sound hole. With these, you have to get around a brace. Oh, it drives me crazy. Yeah, what do you guys think? But Huss and Daltons now, if you're looking, I cannot find a TDM under $3,500. Most of them are around $4,000 to $4,250. Now, I understand mine is like very basic spec. Mine's Sitka spruce and regular mahogany, regular Honduran mahogany. I mean, still, when this guitar was new, it was $4,300, $4,400. But no one is finding them for $2,000 anymore. And what's interesting is, and this is not me bragging on myself at all, but most of those listings that I've seen, they'll have my video talking about it. And they'll, me talking about how great of a deal this is, how much guitar you can get for the money. And so most of those guys are doing it and still trying to get $3,500 or $4,000, which at that point you're only getting a couple $100 off of a new one. So anyway, yeah, there's a Crossroads that you've been watching for a while. They're asking $3,200. I've seen that one. I would love a Crossroads. The DS Crossroads is, oh man, Crossroads 14. What a guitar. The Crossroads 12 is one. That's the one I did in the video, that like how to play guitar at a party without being a douche. And then I did a demo on it. That guitar, like, I checked my bank account a couple times. I just couldn't swing even artist pricing. Which is, artists don't get as good of a deal as you'd think. But they probably don't get probably get the deals that they should. Yeah. Jake Weber says, I have a 2007 Taylor 714 with 3 repaired cracks in the cedar top. Think I can still get 1800 for it. Electronics work perfect. Still plays great and sounds great. I do not think you can get 1800 for it. I think 714s are criminally undervalued. I think without cracks, you might get 14, 15, maybe 1600. So I don't know. You might be in that one for a while, unless you want to lose some money. Jack Attack says, do you know any cool guitar stores around Richmond? I don't. I haven't been to Richmond very much in a while. Matt McFarland says, soaking this all up like a sponge. I appreciate that. That's great. Yeah, Huss and Dalton's crazy. They've gone so expensive. And I'm super glad that I got into this one. This is another one where I'm like, well, another guitar that I just happened to like and find a good deal on a while ago. Like, I could sell this and make $1,500. So all of a sudden I'm like, I can make $1,500. I could make $2,000 on that one. All of a sudden, if I sell keep in mind, these are like my number 1 and 2 guitars. So if I sell my 1 and 2, all of a sudden I'm now at a place where I would have, I'd have like $7,000 between these 2 guitars, maybe $8,000 for guitars I have 3,600 in. But they're made by friends. They're made by, like, they're really hard to find. I mean, what would I do if it's kind of like when you find out your house is worth a bunch of money. You're like, but where would I live? Like, I'd have to buy something when the market's crazy. So I don't know. Anyway, my Huss and Dalton TDM. I also probably need some fret work on the guitar, but I just have put it off. So Jesse picked up a Huss and Dalton TDM custom for $3,000 brand new. What do you mean brand new? Like brand new from Huss and Dalton? That's crazy. That's a great price. Is an inch and 11/16 not a better strummer than an inch .75? Or what is the guitar that's best for a strummer? Probably inch and 11/16. A little narrower, a little more strummy. That was the standard for Martin for a long time, 30, 40 years, 50, 60 years. Wasn't it like late 40s to the like early 2000s before they got really back? I mean, they've always done a mix of everything, but inch and 3/4 can be wide. Yeah, inch and 11/16 is pretty good for a strummer. Collings are so expensive. It's true. Collings have, I mean, the reason I didn't put them on this list is they never dropped into deal territory. They never dropped into the 2s, and that's a lot of money to buy for a used guitar. And I want to stick somewhat into the realm of reality for other guitar players. Like, I know a lot of people are still in the mid-range Martins. They're in the, and that's fine. That's where I want to be. I'm hooked more on buying guitars from friends, but that puts me into, like, to buy a guitar that people make, not factories make them quite expensive. But I'm incredibly thankful to own like a Paget Model 1, to own a Huss and Dalton TDM, to own a Rude Revelator. Like, those are my 3 guitars made by 3 friends. I have another guitar coming made from my friend Rasmus. I don't think Rasmus is here. He might be working tonight. He lives in the Netherlands. He's an amazing guitar builder, young guy. And yeah, he's building me a guitar here coming up soon. Thoughts on the Authentic Series D28s VTS Age Stage 1? Love them. Love them, love them. We literally just talked about this maybe 10 minutes ago. Aaron Short has one. I was on his show. We talked about it. I saw one at Casino. Great guitars. How much do you think a regular acoustic guitar setup should cost? 50 to 75 bucks. And so, but you also need to be pretty clear. Like, setup is a bit amorphous. It's kind of a suitcase word. So it's like, well, what's all packed in there? So with that, it should be restring, clean up the fretboard, clean the guitar, check action, check the nut for lubrication, check the bridge for the brake angle, check the saddle for burrs or ruts. Make sure the guitar just is generally playable and sounds good and looks good. Truss rod, adjust the truss rod, make sure it's playable. It wouldn't necessarily involve like getting into like crowning and leveling, polishing frets. But I think $50 to $75 is reasonable. Yeah. $8,000 might be enough to get your name on the fretboard of an Autry style. That is true. I would love to own like a Martin style, a D45 12 fret slot headstock Gene Autry style guitar with my name inlaid on it. I mean, that just feels crazy to me to own a $12,000 to $15,000 guitar. I'll get there one day, but not today. What? AAA quilted mahogany and bear claw. What, for $3,000? I'll trade you my TDM even for that. Come on, do it. Got it from a Husson dealer in New York. That's awesome. Maybe they punted it, because I guarantee that guitar was $5 or $6. I wonder if they just punted it to get some money back out of it. Someone ordered custom, didn't pay, and I got it from the shop. Husson Dalton sent it too. Someone ordered a custom and didn't pay up. Okay, so yes, I bet they're just like panicked, just like whatever money we can get for it. I bet, dude, I bet they would take a loss on that. Why the change from inch and 3/4 for a popular neck width? Always wondered. Taylor, maybe? I think the style of music started to change. We went away from like stromy folky stuff and we went to more fingerstyle guitar playing. And so just having that little bit of breathing room with your left hand. But also they moved into compound radiuses on the back of the neck. So it started moving just in general towards more playable kind of guitars, Taylor style guitars, more modern style guitars. But I don't know, inch and 3/4 is much more comfortable for me. The only time it's hard is if you're trying to get your thumb over the top. You just have to play the guitar a little higher. Like I noticed inch and 11/16 I can play lower and strum down low, but more often than not I need to have them up a little higher for the style of playing that I do. Angel, you like the shirt? Thank you. This is my brother-in-law's company. It's called Equally Immigrant, and it's these shirts are the point is making the statement like none of us are from here. Very few of us are from North America, and so it's good. It's a good thing to make space, and I love it because we live in a super diverse part of the country. Like most of our neighbors are from Eastern Europe or West Africa or just all over the world, and it's so helpful to remember like, hey man, like make room, make space, be kind. Thoughts on East Virginia guitars? I don't know. I need to know more about them. East Virginia's that away. Todd says, I love the sound and look at the Jason Isbell D18. Are they unobtainium? How much are they? They're expensive. I think maybe they're in the $3s. Let me see. I'll Google them real quick. Holy mo! They're $4,800 now. Wow. Okay, so they do have a Martin Authentic neck taper, but I played one a couple years ago and I really, really wasn't impressed, which was such a bummer because I love Jason Isbell. Okay, so let me check Reverb. Should put my pick in my mouth. For you, I don't care. I do it all the time, but I get picked on, and people say it's gross. So whatever. Jason Isbell D18. Let's see if there are any used ones on here. 0. There are none on Reverb. Whoa, that's crazy. There are 0 on Reverb. Crazy. Okay, so they're $4,800 new, and there aren't any used ones, at least as far as on the biggest, used gear sales page. So I would bet, I mean, if they're used, they're probably close to 4 still. So that's pretty unobtainium, especially for what it is. Like, you could get another D18 that would be similar. That's interesting. What's your favorite OM style guitar lately? Are you a 25.4 inch scale length or a 24.9 like a Triple O? I love OMs for the longer scale length because they feel a little more like a dreadnought. My favorite one I own right now that I would like to sell is I have a House vintage OM. It's hand built by Joshua House in Godrich. I thought it was Godric, but it's Godrich, Ontario in Canada. And so it's a great guitar. They feel like a dreadnought. It's the inch and 3/4 nut width also just gives it it's so capable, and that's what that guitar is. It can do a million things. And so if you're in a place where you need a guitar that's really diverse, I think OMs really kind of have there. My favorite Martin I've owned in a long time was a Martin OM 18V that had an 1 3/4 inch nut. It had a I mean, a jarring to the senses V-neck on that guitar, and the longer scale length was so great. Shorter scale length for a 0018, it just makes it feel a little like kind of folky, kind of fun, a little jangly. That's a great question. Thanks for that, the Panda. Yeah, so that's exactly what the deal tells me. Dude, yeah, I'm sure you did. I bet they lost $1,000 on that. So take that one and run. Yeah, Todd, haven't seen one. Yeah, I'll put a reminder, but it's interesting. Because I think they probably also didn't sell very well. They haven't talked about them in years. I don't think. Do they still make them? That's another question. Is they may have discontinued them. It's interesting. Jason is such a captivating guitar player, and he's so great. But to me, that guitar, like I said, it bummed me out. It just missed. So Zach says, I agree with you that Furk guitars are equal or better value than Taylor than other comparable builders, but seem priced lower. Do you expect the value to increase as they become more common in the U.S.? I think so too. I think absolutely they're going to come up in value. They've only had distribution in the U.S. since 2019, and before that they were in the U.S., but they were under the name Stonebridge, and there was this whole power struggle of, well, people, and I understand, like, I called it Furk for a long time until I knew that it was called Furch. But I'm getting mine. My yellow Deluxe just landed, came in from a boat, and again, hillbilly. Came in on a boat, and it's all set up and ready to go, and it's going to ship to me, I think, on Monday. They'll ship it to me. So I will have my Furk. And so I get that Furk. I'm getting a yellow Deluxe in exchange for the videos and the partnership that we've had. We were planning for me to fly this summer to Czech Republic and to tour the factory with the current state of the world. We've paused that a bit. Now the Czech Republic is a totally different country. It's totally separate from Ukraine, but that situation is still tense. And so it doesn't look like I'd hope to do 2 giant trips this year. I'd hope to go to Czech Republic, and I'd also hope to go to Australia. The Australia trip still can happen. We're trying to figure out how to make that thing work for me to get over, because my brother lives in Australia, and I would love to do as many fun, crazy things in Australia. Go to the Maton factory, go to Cole Clark, check out some guitars, just learn about guitar buying and selling in other parts of the world, because I'm just endlessly curious about that, because I think people are made to be creative, and I love seeing how creativity and finding the right guitars and that intersecting with community and the relational stuff that happens in that. Anyway, Jesse Lett, I wish I could find a Gallagher in Denver to try. Let me work on that. Send me your info. If you go to the jeremytheguitarhunter.com/Gallagher/guitar, you'll find a landing page on my site. Send me your info, and I'll find you a dealer. We'll figure out something, because we're also looking to add dealers. It's formal, but I'm a contractor with Gallagher, and so basically I'm now helping sell and coordinate and try and get guitars into the hands of players. So anyway. The Epiphone Ej200, bring that back. Epiphone, one of the best Epiphone guitars. It's true, and I don't think they'll bring it back because it was so. Every now and then, Gibson does it more than any other brand. They put out way too much of it, just a freaking home run of a guitar for way too low. They did it with the J15, too good of a guitar for $1,300, $1,500. I think they were $1,800 by the time they kind of ended. But anyway, I do have a couple more. Let's run through just a couple more of these other guitars that have just become unobtainium. And it's not quite as crazy, but compared to where they were, like the Japanese Fenders. And so, keep in mind, I literally have a Paisley Telly. I keep looking at the camera, and it's like mirror, so I turn the wrong way. But, so I have one of these. This is, let's see, can I do... Oh... Hold on. So dumb. Okay, so now I need to go backwards. How do I get it the same size? Ho! Look at that! I did it! Okay. So This is my 1986 made in Japan pink Paisley Telly. These have gone crazy in value. Now, I'm an idiot and I paid way too much for this, even 5-6 years ago. I paid $1,000 for this. I've put $300 or $400 into it, into the pickups and the harness. I'm in this so deep, but I also love this guitar. This is a guitar I will do my best to never sell. Actually, I've tried to sell it twice, and it just hasn't sold because I'm in it way too deep. But these are awesome. They're such good quality for the money, and people have rightfully figured out how good of quality these were in comparison to American Strats and Tellys, which were fine during that same time. But for the money, when you could get these for like $500 or $600, why would you not? But now these have shot up to $1,500, $2,000. That's what people are asking. I think that these are closing. Now, the Paisleys are an unusual one because we can also talk about, there are some others like the Fullerton Fenders have gone completely bonkers. Those early 80s, the first kind of versions of the AVRIs, the American Vintage reissues. Those have gone crazy, especially any of the funky colors. And that's the larger lesson. Like the Tom DeLonges went crazy because of the funky colors. These went crazy because of the funky colors. These have gone crazy because of crazy colors. And Fender, what they're doing now, all of those funky colors. I mean, it's cool because I think part of guitar is self-expression. A huge part of guitar is self-expression. And so with those, if you get a guitar that's just so loud and crazy, I mean, think about the Ibanez RGs and all the neon colors. That's one that I'd still love to have. But anyway, so yeah, what do you guys think about all the Japanese stuff? Really great quality. The places they typically skip the lowest quality is on the pickups and the hardware. So if you can get a body that's a cool finish, says Fender on the headstock, and then you can swap out the parts for a couple $100, all of a sudden you have a guitar that just is amazing. Ben Padgett just leveled the frets on this one. What is that? Ugh, I don't know. What is that? There's some drip of something gross and crusty on here. But anyway, this one has Seymour Duncan Antiquity pickups and then full CTS pot and harness. And Ben said that this is the best playing Telly that he's ever played. And if I ever sell it, he wants to buy it. No, you don't get to, Ben. I'm going to keep this forever. Gallagher does make triple O tops, and we also do torified tops. Now so that would be the GA is the auditorium size. So check it out on the website, on the Gallagher website. You'll see all the body shapes and sizes. But yeah, send me your info if you are interested. And Jim Anderson, hello from Woodstock, Ontario. Jeremy, I found an old Blue Ridge G18 copy that is a bluegrass Canon. Love your channel, dude. That's a great one. It's probably what the BR140 is the D18-ish one. I love those guitars. They're great. The only two things that people ever dislike about them, tiny headstock with all the, it's such a loud amount of inlay on the headstock. And then the other thing is the thicker polyurethane finishes, but they sound awesome. They're great guitars. Yeah, and you can get them. They're good deals. Yes, they'll even make a J200 if you ask nicely. It is true. Yeah. Are you talking about Gallagher? Gallagher will do, they've done jumbos now. They offer a jumbo. There's a video I did a while ago called How Do You Sell Guitars to Gruen Guitars, to George Gruen. And so that's David and I taking the first 3 prototypes of the jumbo body shape from Gallagher, taking them to George, and it's kind of him picking them over. Oh, violin is so much easier because you don't get FOMO from different colors and models. That's funny. And it's true. I totally agree. What do you think about Telly Esquires? Well, yeah, so I love Esquires. I mean, I think the Telly is the perfect guitar. That's why I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 Telecasters in this room, and I don't think I have enough. I think they're the perfect guitar because they just kind of get to do a thing. They get to do all the things, but they're so fun and they're so inspiring. It took me a long time to come around to the headstock because I love the crazy headstock of the Tom DeLonge. But I think Esquires are awesome. The only Esquires are by nature limited. And so that's what's cool is it's kind of like race cars. Like at some point, the more you spend, the less you get when you get into like a custom shop Esquire where it has one pickup and then has caps on the switch. And then volume tone. And so it's really cool. You can do a ton with them. You can do a whole lot with them. So, Anyway, Esquires are really cool. I still like a Telecaster because I like having the neck pickup. That's one of my favorite tones, is that neck pickup of these guitars. So, what makes Pink Paisley even more fun is how polarizing it is. Dude, seriously, it's pink. People don't like pink, and it's Paisley, which lots of people don't like Paisley. And so this one is just it's so loud. Everything about it. I love this guitar. I know for me, like in my local music scene when I play out, like people know me for this guitar. Like I am associated with Pink Paisley, and I'm okay with that. All right, we're coming to a close. There are just a couple more. Other ones that have gone crazy are just like regular, the smaller Fender tube amps have all gone crazy. In particular, the Princeton. Look at Princeton's. Like look at any Princeton, like brown face, white face, black face from the 60s, silver face, the drip edge. Look at all of the older ones, the red plugs from the 80s. They're all crazy. They've gone completely bonkers as far as price goes. So they're all above $3,000 are what people are asking. Now, a bunch of things have contributed to that. The biggest one probably is just the popularity of that style of amp, particularly in the praise and worship world. Most everybody's moved to those. And then the other one is Chris Stapleton, his signature model. Lots of attention has been brought to that size guitar. But the reality is that amount of power, that size speaker, that size cabinet, that weight is just perfect. Now, I don't think, people keep saying, they keep asking if I think Fender's going to make a Tone Master version of the Princeton, and I don't think they will. I mean, maybe they would, but I think the three models that they've done so far have just nailed it. Like, I still play my my Tone Master Deluxe Reverb every day. It is such a wonderful amplifier. I love how loud it can be, how quiet it can be, how light it is. It's great. I also would love to have a Super. Hey, Fender, if you're watching, I would love to have a Super, but, I mean, they're selling them so quickly, they don't need to send them to me. Especially, I mean, let's be honest, I got mine for free. I didn't pay for it. Not free. I worked hard for that thing, but I didn't pay for it in money. But, anyway, so all the little Princetons, man, they've gotten so expensive. And even the reissues are now, it's hard to find. You used to be able to find them for $600 or $700. And that's just not the case anymore. You can find the bigger ones, which is kind of crazy. You can get a twin. If you're clever, you can get a twin for $600 or $700, like a twin reissue. Hot Rod Deluxes are still the industry standard. They're still living at $400, $500, but they're so heavy. And yeah. So another one, this is one that blows my mind and we should talk about, are Teiscos. There are a few guitars that have shot up in value that I don't get. I don't get Teiscos. I don't think that they're worth it. They're so cheap. And I've bought hundreds of these for $50 when they came in the guitar shop that I used to work for. And they're okay, but they have big necks. They don't play that hard. They don't play that well. They don't stay in tune at all. They have really cheap electronics that always break. Now, they do have cool pickups, but the pickups coming out, they have like 26 gauge, 24 gauge wire coming out. It's just these tiny little wires that break so easily. And so Teiscos kind of drive me crazy. Yeah. Teisco Tulip still cheaper than a Gibson Theodore. That's true. But the Gibson Theodore, I guarantee, is a better guitar. The Teisco is like, they're like plywood or laminate, or maybe they're poplar, but they're just cheap guitars. The pickups are cheap. They don't stay in tune. I mean, they're funky. And that's the thing, is like, yeah, I can see how people are into it. Let me turn this off. Come back to comment for just a minute. Greetings from Winnipeg. Do you ever come across Super 60s? I don't. Haven't seen one in a long time. As a bedroom player, my rationale is why get a deluxe reverb when you could get a Princeton reverb that's lighter but just as good. Exactly. And that's the whole thing. And that's why they're kind of marketing to it. But also, it's loud enough that you could play a gig with it, and you can put a mic in front of it if you need to. So, I mean, it works. And the Princeton is, I mean, it's a great amp. The other one is the Blues Junior, is kind of the modern equivalent. Not quite as much. Well, I guess they're both technically 15 watts. But a Blues Junior has reverb, has a master volume. So in some ways, a Blues Junior might be a better guitar for some people. Now, I wish that the Blues Junior or that the Princeton had a 12-inch speaker. That's the biggest update, in my opinion, to the Chris Stapleton version. Also, his has tremolo, and a regular Princeton reverb has tremolos. Okay, yeah, they're just totally different. They're helpfully, wonderfully different. Randy says, admittedly, I love Tellys. The first guitar I played was a 59 Telly. I was 8 years old. A friend of mine had, a friend at church had one. Dude, Tellys are awesome. A 59 Telly, that's awesome. Yeah. So Angel says, do you think Martin Custom Shop is on par with boutique brands like Gallagher or Bourgeois? Yes, I think so. The Martin Custom Shop is amazing. I mean, Martin is the king. They're almost 200 years old. Like in 11 years? They will be in 11 years. So 189 years old right now. And I mean, they still are making. They're like, in my opinion, Martin's making the best guitars now that they've ever made. And yeah. So brands like Gallagher, Bourgeois, Husson Dalton, Thompson. I mean, I think Thompson is better than the Martin Custom Shop. I think Collings is better than the Martin Custom Shop. But, I mean, Martin Custom Shops are still amazing. They're still factory-made guitars. And they're still buying materials for guitars at a rate at which the other brands aren't, but that works both for them and against them. They're buying so much wood that they're buying enough mahogany to make, 10,000 D18s. That's different than Thompson saying, we're going to build 40 18 style guitars. And so with them, they're going to buy a better quality of material because they can get a better price because there's a limited. So, have you played many 2-rocks? I've played 4 2-rocks, and I love them. They're really cool. I think, what's that one my friend Adam has in Louisiana? He has one that is like the spankiest, coolest, jangliest Fender tone, and I don't remember what it is. I also like, what's the other one? The Laurel Canyon? What's that brand? Matchless. The Matchless Laurel Canyon. I like a lot. I'm a big Fender guy. Like, I have my 5E3 back here. That two-tone tweed back there is a 5E3 clone that I love. So I'm now like, I have my 3 or 4 favorite tube amps. Yeah. What do I think of Henderson or Caleb Smith guitars? Henderson guitars are amazing. I've met Wayne a handful of times. EJ is building his daughter is building incredible guitars. And they are guitar building, like they're so critically important to the boutique boom of guitar builders. Few things did more for that small guitar building world than the book Clapton's Guitar. It just blew up to where people understood, valued, would spend money, would buy these amazing old guitars. So, a Collings Custom Shop Single O is my dream acoustic. That's a great guitar to strive for. All right, I think we're at I've got one more that I think is great, and I had to pick this cherry red because it's such an iconic color for this guitar. The Guild D25s. Now, there's a couple in here. There's D25, D35. The D40s have always been a little pricey, but these guitars have tripled in value. They were $400, $500. I bought many of them. I had a cherry red one like this in the mid 2000s when I was working at a guitar shop that I paid $450 for, and I loved it. I played it for a couple of years. I sold it for $475, I think. I remember I made money, but I basically just paid $25 to rent a guitar for 2 years. But Guild is awesome. Now with these, they're really fun. They sound really cool. They play hard. All of them seem to have kind of hard action. So they're an inch and 11/16. So like this kind of guitar is going to be a strummer. It's going to be a fun guitar. They're really good for people playing in church, but they're just not. They will never be a fingerstyle, legendary, bright, shimmery, wonderful guitar. They're punchy and loud and fun. Yeah, it's kind of like, what would be a fair example, like in a car. This would be like a Bronco. It's cool, it's fun, it's not particularly subtle, but it is so enjoyable while you have it. So, also, I just want to draw some attention to some guitars that I have for sale. Now, this is not a complete list, and I've been desperately meaning to put stuff on my website, but I keep forgetting. So, anyway, I have a 68 Fender Deluxe Reverb that is amazing. It's a drip edge, $2,600, and ideally it'd be someone that I could bring it to within a couple 100 miles, or someone that could come here and hang out. Also have a 59 Gibson LG1. Oh, okay, so yeah, here's my point. You might look at this list that we talked about today and think, wait a damn second, Jeremy, you own most of those guitars. And this is, I'm not bragging, I'm not pointing myself, but I have like relentlessly searched after the deals I have tried to find guitars that I think are good deals at the time and speculate a bit on which guitars would be definitely worth more. And it's kind of crazy. Husson Dalton, I can double my money. Waterloo, I can make 2,000, I can over double my money. Just when I look at the guitars that I have, and like I said, this is not a flex, this is not me bragging, but it's just, I'm thankful that I kind of read the tea leaves right in some ways, and I kind of knew certain guitars. And I've played it pretty safe. Like, I bank on nostalgia, because that's the highest marker for people spending money. So anyway, all that to say, I do have some of these guitars for sale if you're interested. I also have that Mesa Boogie. I have a Ferk Red Deluxe. I have a PV Classic 20 Mini Head. I have a Trigger style Martin N20. I also have a Schoenberg. We haven't talked about this yet. I'll make a video on it. And I have a Taylor T5. So if you're interested in any of those guitars, please send me an email at info@jeremyshepherd.com. You can also go to my website, jeremyshepherd.com. Nope, jeremytheguitarhunter.com. And go to the shop, peruse around, check it out, buy some coffee, buy a t-shirt. Consider being a channel member. You get early access to videos, and we'll do Q&As. And there's some other stuff. There's a Facebook Marketplace that I'm working on. But there is a page in theory that you could join and then ask for my input and my take on your guitars and all that. So, JP is coming next week. I think it's the 28th or something like that. He's coming before too long. So I'll get a thumb. Show us the Schoenberg. Okay, I'll do that. It's gonna take a second, so you're gonna have to wait a minute because it's on this shelf back here behind the camera. Oh boy. Here we go. Let me do this. So this guitar was built by Thompson in the Martin factory when they were trying to. It was a custom order, custom spec guitar. It's supposed to be a 1930s style Martin OM. So. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not being hyperbolic. This is the best sound, like probably one of the best sounding acoustic guitars I've ever been able to play. So there's no logo on the headstock. On the back of the headstock, it says Schoenberg. So that's SCHOENBERG guitars, made by TJ Thompson and Schoenberg. Look at that Brazilian rosewood on the back. Try and get it to where it's not as shiny, but incredible Brazilian. And then red spruce on the top, and it has proper bar frets. I've not seen a new guitar that has bar frets, but this is like what the original pre-war guitars would have had, these style of frets. It's a little out of tune, but we'll dig in. What do I play? I don't know what to play. So it's an amazing guitar. All Brazilian rosewood back and sides, red sprues. This is, I mean, it's such an important part of Martin guitar history, Thompson guitar history. So now all of the Thompsons that you see, like Billy Strings playing and all of those players, this is kind of the etymology. This is the patient zero, whatever you want to call it. And so this guitar I am selling this guitar in conjunction with Terrence Tran. He runs Good Acoustics. He runs Guitar Bench magazine, and so he lives in Singapore. And so this is a partnership between the two of us. Anyway, this is a great guitar. So yes, here's the back of it. Let's show the sides first. So it's really impressive, really beautiful, ribbony, Brazilian. There's a little bit of checking. So this guitar was built in the early 90s, and it's like proper old style construction. And so there's some checking in the top here, but the top is flat. There's no belly. There's no roll. The action is wonderful. I mean, this guitar, it's a different level. It's a different level of guitars than I'm normally involved in. I kind of live in that boutique-y world. This is hand-built. So there's factory guitars. There's like cheap factory guitars, import factory, American factory, or like first quality production. Then there's boutique, and then there's hand-built. Like there is, and it's all just like all of a sudden it's the shift to what is the absolute best guitar we can make. So anyway, yes, this is a long show. We've gone like an hour and a half. So my throat hurts. I need to drink some water. And yes, so please consider becoming a channel member. Consider becoming a patron. You can do one or the other. Don't do both. I mean, unless you really like me and you want to spend, I think it'd be like $8 or $15, $20. If you do both, consider checking out Write Guitars Faster. And thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys and gals. It's really fun. I love that this is my job and what I get to do with my life. So please support that. Buy a t-shirt. Go to the store. All that stuff. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have fun. You guys are wonderful and kind. And I'm very thankful for each and every one of you. Have a great Easter weekend. Whether you're a Christian or not, this is a good time. You probably had some time off today. Probably kind of a low-key. There's probably some people doing some fun stuff around you. If you're in Louisiana, go to a shrimp boil or a crawfish boil. I wish I was doing that. But, yeah, happy Good Friday, everybody. And I'm thankful for every one of you. Thank you. Have a good weekend. See ya.